Hi, folks. Having a good day today. Let me first welcome you to Autism Rocks and Rolls. Now, before we begin, I must note that I'm not a doctor psychiatrist. If you're starting to be diagnosed with autism, please see a physician, at least based on my experiences. I was on the right to the intro and outro that I found on ytmp3.com. They also have a mission statement I'd like to review with all of you. The mission of Autism Rocks and Rolls is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions that many think are disabilities. People on the spectrum are not broken and do not need to be fixed. Those who have conditions or abilities want to be pitied. There's nothing to be sorry about. I also have some people I'd like to thank. First, I must indeed thank my latest guest, Luis Marinucci, in C234 in the deep blue sea with Luis Marinucci, but what a great guy, and he's truly the epitome of Autism Rocks and Rolls. I have received some more Cutthroat Kitchen fan mail. This piece of mail is from Chef Jeremiah Bullfrog. Thank you for hearing me out, man. Some Saturdays ago, AR ran by Bedford to get a gift card from Magic Morning Bakery that you'll be using in the future. We appreciate Magic Morning's Bakery's kind donation and their delicious treats. And since the last episode, I've been featured on some podcasts. I was on the Public Access podcast with Rusty Diamond, Meet the Elite podcast with Meet the Elite team, the Joey Conklin Show with Joey Conklin, and the Success After Trauma podcast with Greg Fizz. What great podcast, everyone. Today we have a popular pro wrestling legend. Some of you might know her as Victoria from WWE or Tara from TNA. Coming from the world of bodybuilding and fitness, she took pro wrestling by storm because she has held the women's championship in both companies with WWE legend Chyna's encouragement and a little help from WWE legend. With WWE legend Chyna's encouragement, she became a two-time WWE women's champion, a five-time TNA women's knockout champion, and even a member of Vince's Devils. I have her on my show for two reasons. The first reason is that at a point in her career, she represented mental health by portraying a demented, sadistic villainess while feuding with WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. Secondly, when she is outside the ring, she is one of the nicest human beings you will ever meet. As I believe that she has this aura where after someone speaks to her, you will leave feeling better about yourself. Let's welcome a retired bodybuilder, entrepreneur, retired cheerleader, and WWE legend to the podcast, Autism Rocks and Rolls. Victoria, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. What an amazing intro.
Yeah, I created that all by myself too, may I add.
Oh, thank you. My God, the part that almost made me cry up is like when you leave meeting me, you feel good about yourself. Oh my goodness.
You do. I think a lot of people do. And I'm not just saying that from me. There were like people before I met you that said that.
Oh, hey, move your mic towards the front of your face.
Okay, maybe.
There you go, because your face.
I'm afraid if I do, I'm going to push the keyboard off.
I know. I do the same thing. Yeah, see, here's mine too.
There we go. It works. All right.
Yes.
So my first question is, what did...
Well, wait, I want to say thank you so much for having me on the show. And I love your intro about like saying it's not, don't feel sorry for autistic people and stuff like that. That's amazing. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Sam.
Of course. So my first question to you is, what did representing mental health mean to you?
Oh my goodness. I did a lot of volunteer work. I was with Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I also was with the UPS they had a Make-A-Wish segment on there, and I would visit mentally challenged kids with mostly Down syndrome, and yeah, major fans. And it's just I don't treat them much differently than everybody else, but I think it's very important. But we need to have that awareness to, when people like parents, like, I'm ADHD, and I only got diagnosed 7 years ago for ADHD. And I wish like people were a little bit more cognizant or aware of what symptoms are. You know what I mean? So for all the old school parents and people having kids, get them tested out and stuff like that, because
there could be a reason, hands down, why they're doing this. It may not be, the way, unfortunately, that society lives anymore, where you have that old school mind, but it's a behavior, and you're going to punish us for something we can't help. Seriously?
Exactly. Amen, brother. Seriously. Yeah. Serious. I'm with you. 100%.
And what were your initial thoughts when you learned that you were going to represent mental health?
I don't think I was very honored. when they asked me to do this, and no, there's no questions or anything like that. I just, okay, what do you need me to do? Visit homes and stuff like that. And you're like, when you're picked out to go visit certain genres, like, I also was, part of the, rock the vote, getting people to vote, and also too is just a lot of mental health. And when you get picked out to do this and charities and stuff like that, it's an honor, because they know you could, it's easy. It's easy, and you're good
Oh,
with people. I'm good with people, so it's a pat on
yeah.
my back.
You really are good with people. I don't know where that comes from. I have a question about that later, but my mind was wishing you're a part of Make-A-Wish. Well, I got another, I can't speak. I got another organization for you. This is one of my previous guests, and for the listeners, C219 on the silver screen with Tamika Lamison, but she runs in California, Make a Film Foundation. It's
And what's that?
basically Make-A-Wish, but with movies.
Oh, that's amazing. And
It really is.
I'm in San Diego, so that's just a 2.5 hour drive. So you
Yeah,
can reach out to reach out to me.
I will definitely
Absolutely.
tell her to do that, because it's definitely where they take these children with life-threatening conditions and unfortunate illnesses, that they get to live out their legacy by making films. And I watched some of the films. They're not like out in the backyard boonies, bad, but they're decent, but they're not like out in your backyard. They're like
Right.
high tech quality, hanging out with Johnny Depp and J.K. Simmons.
Wow. That's amazing. Oh my, yeah, reach out to them. Yes, pass my name
I'll
along,
tell her when
please.
I hang up from, I'll definitely like, hey, I got this person who's interested. Yeah, I'll definitely let her know. Now, based on playing
Yeah, yes,
Victoria,
absolutely. Yeah.
go ahead. Okay. Based on
Oh, I was
playing,
gonna say too is go ahead. So I'm cutting you off. I think we're delayed. You go first.
okay.
Based on playing Victoria.
Yeah. Based on playing Victoria, how do you think someone with mental health issues brain operates?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know, but I think we all have a little bit of a psychotic gene in our system, and how I got that psycho character was the way I wrestled. They thought I wrestled very psychotically, and I thought I was just being more aggressive and more exaggerated and more vocal and stuff like that. So of course, did I question it? No, of course not. I didn't question it. I enjoyed my character, and I never even saw myself psychotic. To be honest with you, I just wrestled just to tell a story. And thank goodness for Stevie Richards. I got to work with him, and I guess we're both psychotic wrestlers, evidently. This label, but I loved it. I loved my character. I really did.
And
Do you
I
think that's
find
why
that
maybe I got all the mental health? Maybe that's why I went to all, they gave my character and they were like, made me go to do all the visits. I don't think so, but do you think
maybe, who
so?
knows? But who cares at this point? You represented mental health in the best way possible. You helped out a teenage boy who was not in the most pleasant place at his time. But I mean, the characters that are like you, the Boogeyman, the Undertaker, they're like over the top phenomenal, because even though I'm not a fan of horror movies, I don't mind being the guy scaring people. I just don't like being scared, though. But I knew it was fake and it wasn't real out in the real world.
Yes, yes. And I have to explain to people that we are a storyline. We are a movie and or a TV series, and the show must go on, and we don't really exactly get to pick what we do. It's because it's a show. Some actors are told to do a certain character, and you're like, okay, what am I portraying? But I went with it. I rolled with it, and I loved it, and that's one of my favorite characters. And thank you for that. Thank you.
Not a problem. Now, what is the most rewarding and the most difficult part when you represented mental health?
I don't think there was a difficult time. I really don't think so. I think I'm good with people, and I treat everybody equally. And honestly, there wasn't a difficult time. It was more rewarding than anything. I
Can
really
I make
enjoyed
a
it.
suggestion?
And
Because I bet there was one difficulty.
yeah,
People thought you
what?
were that. I was just saying, I think there was one difficulty you kind of mentioned in interviews before. People thought you were her in real life.
Yes, yes. And that's why I find like especially when you're active on the roster, you find that people are afraid to talk to you. And even to this day, when I do appearances, like at the Square Circle Expo that we met, that people are just like, wow, you are completely opposite than your character. And I'm like, don't forget we're acting as well. So yeah, so it is completely opposite than what I did in, what I am in real life, because I became that bully from school that people hated and did what the bullies did, that they're going to make people hate me. You know what I mean? But I was never that person. I was, you know, um, I'm a nice person,
Oh, I
and I
could
like
tell
to
it.
welcome
I want to meet you
everybody.
regardless through that expo, but I just knew previously because of testimonies through other people. But I'll just tell you this: if those testimonies did not exist, I would have thought you were Victoria. Period.
Thank you. Thank you. I have, and the thing about with wrestling fans too, and like the podcasts and all these appearances I do, they are loyal. Wrestling fans are super loyal. And I made so many friends along this business, not wrestlers, but the fans become my friends. You know what I mean? It's a big family. And I think what brings us all together is we're wrestling fans. So every wrestling fans get along. It is a family. It's almost like a church.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But that's what I appreciate right there, too, because what I've noticed, there's some wrestlers, and I'm not trying to name your friends or just there's a whole population of pro wrestlers. They let money get to their head. They think that they're number one. They don't probably aren't people where you're like, oh, hey, we're like, I'm not doing these meet and greets. You kidding me? But you got a fan base.
And you know what? Like that's baffling to me, Sam, because who pays our bills is our fans. So I don't understand that mentality of um, I never, my generation, we didn't make a ton of money. I think the girls do well now, and the guys do. They pay very well, but we're very passionate about what we do, and we know that meet and greets and podcasts and appearances are part of the business. So it breaks my heart to hear that some of my coworkers or people I work with don't want to do these. And this is part of the business, is giving back, you
Oh my
know?
God, hands down. But I can, even though I don't agree with it, I understand it to a point because if it would be exhausting to do meet and greets like weekend in, weekend out. Like you had one I saw last week on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know how you could do that both days. I'd be like, all right, let's go Saturday. Whoop-de-doo. Then Sunday, I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
And I have one this weekend as well. So I'm one, Sam. I do weekend. Most weekends. I do a lot of Comic Cons, but they are exhausting. Don't get me wrong. When I come home, I need to sleep a day and recoup and recharge. But for me, I enjoy them. It's not it's not work. I get to reunions with old friends and meet new fan base and new people, and realize what they appreciated about my character, like in WWE and TNA. You know what I mean? So I enjoy talking to people. So I'm a people person. So it's not really work, but I do need 2 days usually to recharge, because I'm preparing for the next weekend. And for me, I don't want anybody to meet me and be disappointed. So I'm more one that goes, I'm not going out after the show. I need to go get some sleep, because tomorrow I got to rock and roll for the fans too, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. And I do have a question about Squared Circle and a certain karaoke performance, but I'll get into that later. But before I do, what advice would you give to others who want to represent mental health?
Oh my gosh. I think a lot of us people, because of mental health, because, a lot of people are suffering mental health, like with depression, you know, um, there are people there, like, a lot of people can't afford to go to a shrink or get that, with insurance, health insurance, but there are, online avenues to kind of get some help. So I encourage like my coworkers and other wrestlers, you got to be involved. You got to know what's going on these days. And, adulting and, life gets in the way, also too, like us wrestlers, we're really focused. We're like, 3 to 4 days on the road on the weekends to take that time to recoup and vent. And I always represent, like, I always tell people, therapist is not a bad word. If you need a therapist, you need someone to vent to, because we're not all perfect. I don't think if there's not one perfect person, we all need to vent and get the help we need.
Oh my gosh, hands down. There is not a person who has not made one mistake in their life. You could talk to the nicest person in the guy and the most politest person. Even he probably forgot to pass the salt.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. You said it right, Sam.
Now, we'll talk about the Squared Circle Expo. So, how did you get to attend the Squared Circle Expo?
I was reached out by ADT Promotions. They wanted me to come out. I was originally supposed to do just Saturday. And I was like, isn't this a 2-day event? And they said, yes. And I go, why don't you have me booked on both days? And they said they never worked with me. They didn't know how it was going to go. I go, well, let me come out Friday too. And so I asked to be included on Friday. I don't like to go just to a 1-day thing. Unless it's a wrestling independent show, usually they're just 1 days. But I'm one that I'm not the high maintenance kind of wrestler that goes, I only do Saturday 12 to 3. I'm the whole entire day, the whole haul, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, you're not like MJF from AEW going like, all right, I'm doing this. I demand to be the highest paid wrestler. And I bet part of it was character, but
I think most of it's character, because I was hearing stories, because I didn't at these conventions, Sam, we don't really get to go wander around and go say hi, because what if someone's at our table wanting to meet us and then they have some other panel to go to or anything like that? So I generally don't. I'll take a break to go tinkle, or go get outside to get fresh air and not being stuck in the convention center. I'll go, okay, let me get some coffee. I need to be energetic, because I don't want anybody to be disappointed meeting me. But the I think most of that was character. I'll be honest with you. I hope, because I don't want to know people that are like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, because generally my friends I hang out with um, are very down to earth and people.
yeah, I'll
People
give you props though
people
with
first.
MJF. I haven't seen much with him, but I've heard he's probably one of the greatest like wrestling heels of all time. So
And also too, you gotta keep in mind, back in the day when I was in WWE as that psycho character, I didn't do a lot of appearances, Sam, because it was old school mentality where we played our character. So we were not allowed to be be friendly with the fans, because we wanted them to think that we're really that character. So even though a lot of people knew it was entertainment, there was a lot of people that didn't know it was entertainment. So we wanted to play the character even outside of the ring. So when I was like wrestling against Trish, Lita, Mickey James, we never traveled together because we were not supposed to be seen together, because we have a big wrestling angle. So, like when you're a heel, I think a good heel is old school, where they play their character in real life, which is very difficult for me, because I'm not that bad guy mentality. I'm a nice person. I treat everybody with respect. That was the hardest part, is being my character outside. Like when I went to a restaurant and a fan came up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're actually nice," and I go, "Well, is Trish Stratus around? Because I'm not going to be nice if she's here." So yeah, that's an old school mentality, and I think MJF I think he's old school mentality. You know,
yeah, I agree. I hope he's not like that, but it makes me interested, you know?
It's interesting. It is
Yeah.
interesting. I'd like to know too. It would be weird to go see, when Undertaker was Undertaker, to go see him do a meet and greet or a convention, and him going, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" You're like, "Oh, I don't want to hear Undertaker talk like that. I want Undertaker to be Undertaker." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there's a funny story with that, actually, I can tell you. So at the expo, there was like this wrestling show. You were there, I think, because you're with our buddy, Scott Hullett. And I think, did your flight mess up that day, by the way?
No, no, I
Oh,
flew
someone
out the
told me
next
your
day.
flight screwed up on Saturday. Maybe it was
Oh
just
no,
my.
no, 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 no. Okay, well, I was supposed to fly out that night and ended up there was no way I was going to make my flight because I'm one person. I know I had an early flight. That would have meant I would have had to left 2 hours early before that day. And I'm like, please don't let me leave early. I mean, it's like take advantage that I'm there. And so I would have never made my flight anyways. So we just postponed the flight to the next day. And I did go to that wrestling show. And yeah, one of my favorite wrestlers is Colt Cabana, and I got to see him perform. And I missed Mickey, and I got to see Nick Aldis wrestle. And I do like to go to indies because I do like watching as a fan, because I still am a fan.
Oh, me too, hands down. I found wrestling since I was 6. I ain't growing out of it for nothing, man. No
Yeah,
way. Oh, no
no
way.
way.
But I gotta be honest, I like Shark Boy. Shark Boy is way
Oh no,
better.
okay, okay, I'm sorry. I love Shark Boy. I love Shark Boy.
Oh,
Yes.
you can't go wrong with Shark Boy. Shark Boy was
No,
phenomenal.
I have one of his masks from 15 years ago. I still have it. Yes. Yeah, I'm a
The
big fan.
funniest thing though with that is so these guys were coming out, I think it was I think it was against the Headbangers. These other guys, you're talking about not breaking character. This manager would not break character. Like I try to get him a high five, like talking to him outside. Same guy you would think as the guy from the sidelines,
Yeah.
booing
Yeah.
people, telling them, sticking the tongue out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, I like that. I think like especially after you do a wrestling show and this is the part like okay, when you're a heel, which is a bad guy for you guys new watching, babyface is a good guy for you guys new watching. When you're a heel and you just wrestled a show and they go back out and sign autographs afterwards, you know, I feel bad for the heels because you don't get paid a lot of money. So you want to sell the 8x10s and a photo op with you to make extra money. But they just did a bad guy. You have to be in character after you just did a show. I think it's important.
Yeah,
I
it seems
really
like
do.
heels have more responsibilities.
Very true. Very true.
But
Yeah.
to be honest though, I would want to be that guy, oddly enough. Like I want to go to meet and greets and go, like I have too much fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they do too. And I remember going to TNA and ODB was the bad guy and I was the good guy. And I did the meet and greets. And so they paid extra for the meet and greets during that tour. And so I would tell her, we would go somewhere really obscure and not be seen by people. And I would get her dinner. She goes, "Why are you getting my dinner?" And I go, "Well, you were the heel. I was the baby face. I made more money tonight. I'd like to buy you dinner." She goes, "Oh my gosh, Lisa," or Tara at the time. No one does that. And I'm like, well, shame on them because it takes two in the ring. The heel and the baby face are a team making a good match. So take care of each other. That's my point.
Yeah, as a song reference, what's a song by Rob? You're a hip hop fan, so Rob E. Bass. It takes two to make things go right.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
Exactly.
It
Thank
takes
you.
two to make it out of sight. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I just couldn't remember the lyrics to a point.
I can't believe you remember that song. I think you were probably like 4 years old at that time.
I'm a song geek. What can I say?
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. That was my generation.
Some of your generation, I'll admit, it was pretty good.
It was good.
A lot of it
Thank
was
you.
good, actually. I'll admit it. Now,
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to remember. So, you were meeting a lot of people, but then I come right with the Autism Rocks and Roll shirts, giving you this big, giant teddy bear hug almost. So, what were your first thoughts of me?
Very sweet and very energetic. And I'm shame on me. I missed you did a promo contest to do a promo, which is talking on the mic, and I missed it. I was trying to like, when people trinkle in your table, you can't go, sorry, I gotta go. That's so snobby. I think it's conceited. And I was like, oh man. And so I was like, I missed your promo. And you were so energetic and excited. And that's what us wrestlers really enjoy seeing when someone is excited to meet you. You know what I mean? So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're
I was excited.
100% welcome. I was part of it was probably me being a childhood dream come true. I mean, getting to meet lots of wrestlers. I mean, I met some before, and for the listeners, I've had Mick Foley on, Al Snow, RVD, Raven, which is a big shocker because I've heard he's definitely a good guy. I would never bash Raven. Raven's amazing, but I think he's kind of picky.
Yes, yes. And so am I. I'll be honest with you. But when I met you, I told you when you told me you had a podcast, you're like, I want you to be on my podcast. I go, absolutely. And that's when Scott and Jared from Heated Shenanigans, right? Heated Shenanigans. They reached out. He goes, hey, he's wanting to set up the interview. And I was like, okay, what day? Just give me a couple dates because sometimes we're filming for our God TV show. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm happy to finally do it.
Me too. Now we gotta ask you. You love apparently that body's performance. So karaoke, ring a bell.
I love karaoke. I love karaoke. That's my guilty pleasure, but I don't think I should be guilty about it. But if someone says, "Oh, there's karaoke," and I'm like, "What time? Where at? Where is this?" I don't have a voice of a songbird, but I do love karaoke. And did you see when I dragged Mickey James on stage? She was like, "Oh, Lisa, did you?" I'm like, "We have to do."
No, I
Redneck
probably
Woman."
left at that time. But what'd you think of the
Oh,
body's performance?
amazing. I like people that have no, like, they're not shy about it. I think get up there, even if you don't sing well, you can make a fool of yourself. It's still enjoyment. I just think it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
fun fact for you, I was not that guy. 20, about how much was that? I wasn't that guy 15 years ago. Ago. I was
Yeah.
basically more of the guy hiding in the corner. Almost think of it as the boogeyman eating worms. I mean, that was the guy. Except I didn't eat
You
the
just
worms. It's just I couldn't fit in with people.
okay. Okay. But that's normal as being young. I think when you're growing up and you're a teenager or just young, you got to find your crowd that you actually fit in. But I find that odd because in wrestling, when you go to these after parties and all these dinners or whatever, I think everybody fits in because we're all nerds about it and we all are marks and we all are fans of wrestling. So that unites us. And I don't think there's any shame in that. So I'm glad you grew out of that.
No, it wasn't really. I think it was part of my fault because just low self-esteem and just being afraid of getting judged on what the next guy will judge you on. And as you can remember, being 14, people look at you and every day they don't have time for some statements that you may see or may not see through this podcast will come out and they sound a lot better in my head. But when you spin them out, it's what now?
Yeah, exactly. And also too, I think you're not different than any other kid as a 14-year-old. We're all insecure and afraid to be judged and trying to fit in and just you don't want to be singled out as like an oddball, but every kid goes through that. I even went through that as an adult in WWE trying to find my I didn't know who to hang out. I was so scared to be there. I was so new, and I was like, "Oh my God, people are judging me because I'm not really super experienced." And I think every job you go into, you're going to be insecure. Every new school, when you go from junior high to high school, you feel that insecure, and that insecurity. I like to say, I'm 52 you're never gonna get over the insecurity. You're always gonna feel it. You're always gonna feel it. It's just that's a natural human, you know, uh response.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in return, I think you kind of hate it when you see others. So I'm not talking about. So how can I say this? So basically, when you're wrestling, even though that kids at the time don't see the struggles, they think it's a dream, right? They're like, oh, we're in the ring. They get to see people. Everyone's treating you with respect. I didn't see that. Not anyone treating me with respect because of me being different. So at that time frame, watching you, even though it was a dream come true for me, you were kind of the problem unintentionally.
Yes, I became the bully, and uh, also you can say that my character was an oddball. It was an oddball, but like in my generation of wrestling, there each wrestler was so individual that the fan can relate to a certain wrestler because they're like, oh, they're like me. They're like me. And that's the important part about picking your character is trying to identify with the crowd and make them feel what you're feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like I was the giant girl beating up Trish Stratus. So everybody loved Trish Stratus because she's the smaller girl. And I overcame her and became the bully, but they can identify her struggling against a bully like myself, but conquering.
Right,
You know?
exactly. But the you got to find a way with the villain. You got to make being evil fun. That's how it works with
Yeah.
villains. That's what I think works with villainy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the case? Because you were cool as a villain. The NWO was cool as a villain, and they got over 24/7 with shirts. So am I
Yes.
wrong?
Yeah. Okay. So I got over with the crowd. Like I was getting a big fan base when I was evil. And that's why they turned me babyface because I was starting to have a huge fan base. So they thought, oh no, she's supposed to be hated. But people started loving me because I was so not the cookie cutter wrestler. I was the big girl. I wasn't, the Barbie doll type. So I really like being the villain. I'll be honest with you. It was easier for me. Most of these girls you meet, they're really tiny. So, the Goliath against, I was the giant against the smaller people. And it's easy to hate me because I'm a bully in the ring, not in real life.
Right.
Yes.
That's what Mick Foley happened to when he was Mankind in 1996. I mean, he said himself on the bio, he was like, there was no turn. It's just more and more people cheered for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish they didn't turn me babyface. That was a difficult turn for me. I didn't know how to be a babyface. It was that's why I came out kissing babies and going to little kids and giving them a hug. I didn't know how to do it because I was such a good heel. I was a better heel than a babyface. I didn't enjoy, I mean, like, it was a real struggle because, like, to get people to love you is very difficult in the ring. Very difficult because you are out there being judged too.
Right. But I'm surprised with that though, because you're not that person outside the ring. So couldn't you maybe who you would have brought outside in the ring to who you were inside?
But it was hard because I started such like a bad girl in the ring, and to turn me automatic like boop, good guy. I was like, how am I gonna get these? I was a heel for so long. How am I gonna get these people to love me? I'm gonna need a really good heel to wrestle to make people love me and beat me up and stuff like that, so that I can get sympathy. It was very difficult. Yeah, that was my personality outside the ring. But I do like clicking. Like when I hear my entrance song, I like clicking into that character going, all right, this is wrestling, baby. This is wrestling. And I like doing characters.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe for
yeah.
that babyface, you should have fought Kane. Maybe that would have gotten you over.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're right.
Now, speaking of Trish, we were talking earlier. When did you learn that you were going to feud with Trish Stratus?
When I got to TV, they don't really email you a script. Every time you traveled, you would get to the building early and they would tell you, hey, you're doing this. You're going to be doing this tonight. We don't know prior to the weekend before. We learn at the show. And so that's also prevents leakage to the website to know what we're going to do. So when I found out about that, and she actually pitched, I want to work with Victoria. It was an honor, and we had some killer matches. We had an agreement. Let's say sorry now. Let's just have a good match. We might accidentally take a punch, or I might punch you. We might really hurt each other. We didn't mean to, but you get so engulfed in the wrestling match that we had an agreement. I'm not really meaning to hurt you, but let's put a good show on. You know, yeah, she was
Yeah.
amazing.
I think she hurt you more from hearing interviews. You got your nose broken by her.
That was from the trash can, though. Like on the 2002 at the Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, she catapulted me into the trash can in the corner, and the trash can popped out in my face and broke my nose and chipped my tooth. So yeah, yes, yeah, I'm sure she didn't really mean to do that, but yeah, after that match, when I watch it, it's a difficult. That's most everybody's favorite match, but it's difficult for me to watch it because I remember I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I blanked out at that point because I broke my nose and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh my gosh, my eyes are wandering. I can't see. You know what I mean? But that's the art about wrestling too, Sam. You got to think on your feet. We don't choreograph everything we're doing out there. It's a show. And if something goes awry, something goes wrong, you got to be able to think on your feet to correct it. You know what I mean? So it's just a one-time gig. Like you just, it's not like a movie where you're like, hey, you messed up on that line. Let's do it again. We don't have that option. We
Oh,
get one time.
and that's
One time
what
to
I
get,
actually love because I would not like be good at that. Like I can like I'm not thinking I've considered myself an actor before, but I've always, had that in the back of my mind thought like, well, I'll probably be a good actor. But then I think, oh, well, wait a minute. There's a certain script. And I am okay with the script to a point, but I'm more
yeah.
of an on the fly guy. The adrenaline takes over. So I
And
mean,
that's
maybe the next thing you know, I'm giving Sheamus's 10 beats of the Bottering, but then I'm thinking, oh, I'm at an RKO now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's unexpected.
And also too in wrestling, when we get, the backstage promos, we don't get something written down for us. They just tell us verbally, just make sure you plug in this, make sure you do this, make sure you do this, and then put it in your own words. Put it in your own words. So we have to go, hey, check me out on this date. I'm gonna destroy like we would just go into our own words.
I
So
love that. That's
don't you
that's
love
my
that?
style of working with people though.
And that's wrestling. That's
Oh,
wrestling.
heck yeah.
It's almost like improv. When you see people just when you go to a theater and they just someone throws out a subject and you just go with it. That's
That's the
improv.
thing.
So
I
that's
suck at
wrestling.
acting, but I'm wonderful at improv. Go figure.
Yes, I'm the same. I'm with you. I feel the same too.
You're talking about backstage moments or something kind of kooky. Was there any like moments in wrestling where you didn't think, okay, I'm not doing it, but you thought, not like, okay, really? Like, okay, this is what we're doing right now. I'm doing this. And it's just kind of, was there a comical backstage moment you had, like when maybe you thought, I'm not saying this happened, I know this didn't happen, but all right, I'm going to get showered with horse manure.
Okay, so when there's a scene, when I was with the Godfather girls, the Godfather hoes with Godfather, we did a shower scene. I was with the other girl, the other Godfather hoe, and we were doing a shower scene with Eddie. Of course, we're not naked in the shower. We're the shower's running, but we have a towel and like a bathing suit on back there. And I was like, we're supposed to two girls taking a shower with Eddie. I go, what the heck am I doing? Of course, you don't say, no, I'm not doing it because this is the show. But I'm like, I hope my parents don't watch the segment.
I'm like, whatever. With me, I'm like, all right, you're going to hang me upside down with the rope? All right, what the heck? You know what? I've done dumber things, so nothing new.
I never said, but of course I didn't say anything. I just did it. You know what I mean? I was just like, it's the show. You want to be easy to work with. If you're difficult to work with, you're not going to get a lot of segments. You're not going to get
Right.
a lot
But
of.
I would definitely like, I would be like, I ain't doing this. You kidding me? But I'd be like,
Yeah.
really, dude? This is what we're doing right now? Really?
There was one, the only time I said no. They wanted to change my character to Demi Moore uh, when she was a GI Jane, GI Jane. So they wanted to shave my head, and I said, "Please don't." I go, "I'm super insecure about. I don't think I'll look good bald." And then we were in the generation when girls were supposed to be really attractive and meek and very confident and that kind of stuff. I go, please, I'm not comfortable shaving my head because I do not look like Demi Moore. And I was like, please, I went to Fit Finley with Sergeant Slaughter's idea about that. I still give him grief about that. And I went to Fit Finley. I go, please tell him I am not comfortable shaving my head. Honestly, I go, I'm not, I go, and most of my moves, I pulled my hair and my finisher was the widow's peak after my hairline. And I was like, you're taking away a lot of my stuff. I do, you know what I mean? So that was the only time I didn't say, no, I'm not doing it. But I had a lot of people say that she's not going to perform as well. So
Oh,
that was that.
boo-hoo on them. Really?
Yeah. But they didn't make me. They didn't do it. We
All
didn't
right,
do it.
that's good. And that was for Molly Holly, right?
Yes, that was no, that was way before. They wanted me to do it uh way earlier than that match, way earlier, just as a character, not a hair versus hair. But then Molly Holly was the one that pitched at WrestleMania 20. I want to be the first girl to get her head shaved on WWE.
And
And
you were the
so,
one saying you don't want to do it. I'll be like, oh, heck yeah, I want to do that. I always want to try going bald. I'd be like, ooh, let's do it. Me.
yeah. She was like, I want to be the first. And then they asked her, who do you want to wrestle? And she said, I want to wrestle Victoria. And so that's how I got that WrestleMania, the 20, because she was wanting to work with me, and which is very nice. It's always nice to be nice to people that you work with. And I'm very giving in the ring, whatever someone wants to do. Okay, you want to do that move? Okay, we're going to do it. Okay. I never said, oh, I don't think we should do this. I'm too big of a character to do this. I was very giving, and it's very, that's why I had a longevity. I was easy to work with, and I was good with the newbies.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet did you take any newbies under your wing? Like not modeling. Wow, you modeled
Yep.
them.
Yes.
Mentored them.
Christy Hemme, Lena Yada, all the girls that were came from the Diva Search, and Brooke Tessmacher. I would, Ivory, Lisa Moretti from, Ivory Right to Censor. She took me under her wing when I first came to WWF at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be like that. I want to treat people with respect, even though they came from modeling. I don't care. They're coming to even make a chance at wrestling, and you got to give them respect to want to come in there and get a beating. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I like
yeah.
Ivory's Right to Censor. I know a lot of people hated
I
Right to
loved it.
Censor, but I loved it. I'm
I
like,
loved it.
this is amazing. This kid,
She's
if people told me how to live my life like this, I'd be booing them too. They're fun to
yeah,
hate.
she was amazing. And then she didn't have a script. She just talked what she talked, and yeah, she's amazing. She came from acting in the past, so she was really good at improv. Excellent wrestler. One of my role models in wrestling.
So now, what is your favorite match that you were in, or not? Either one, in or out, doesn't matter. From your time in WWE.
Well, my favorite match that I was in was we did a Halloween costume, and I was a sumo wrestler. Do you remember that one?
I
No?
actually do remember that. I had WWE
Okay.
Network, so I actually did this really cool project. It was kind of cool, but time consuming. But you know what? When
Yeah,
you
it
love
is
something
time
so much,
consuming.
you're gonna do it. From
Yeah.
1985 to what year?
Wow.
Around your time frame. And I think I stopped at 29 because I was getting tired of it. But I watched all the wrestling pay-per-views.
Okay, so I did that match. I did the sumo outfit, which weighed a ton. So I did it in my mind, going, "These girls can't lift me out of the ring. This is a royal one. This is a rumble. This is all of us in there. You have to throw each other off the top rope, right?" And I was like, "They're not gonna be able to lift me out of the ring. I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win this." But when I got to the ring, all the girls were laughing so hard that they almost peed their pants. And that was my favorite because it wasn't so serious. And to see everybody break character in the ring going, "Oh my God, Victoria, oh my, you're hilarious." And I was like, that's one of my favorite matches. Yeah. But
Yeah, I remember that actually. It seemed like that. Was Trish laughing the hardest? It seemed like she was about to
um,
die, like die.
Mickey James, Mickey James was like laughing. She could not keep, she was like, "I'm gonna pee my pants. I'm gonna pee my pants." And I was like, "You guys, we only have 2 minutes left to get this match done," because the referee's like, you have time cues, because you only have a certain amount of time for a match. And she was laughing the hardest. And when I started laughing when Tori Wilson and myself, she was a football player. And when she started, she got up and she goes, "Ooh," like this. And then, she's sweet as pie. To see her try to look tough, I said, "Oh my God, you're the cutest thing ever." And she goes, "Shut up. I'm trying to look tough." And yeah, that was one of my favorite matches. I'll be honest
You
with
should
you.
have been like a
Yeah.
Victoria character. Oh my God, you're the
I,
cutest thing ever.
I go, "You're the cutest." Yeah. Of course, no one saw me say that, but I'm like going, doing my whole sumo thing. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're the cutest ever. Look at you trying to be tough." Yeah. Yeah. I had a great time with her. Yes.
So now it's something kind of interesting. So I want to look at this. Let's pretend there's a diagram here. So we have Victoria and Lisa Marie Varon. Are there any similar character traits that Victoria and Lisa Marie Varon have?
I think, yes, there's probably just one. I'm not really that mean. I'm a little crazy, I'm one of those loud people, no filter. I like to make people laugh and react and stuff like that. But I think one character is you don't know what to expect when you meet me or what I'm going to say, or just be on your toes when you meet me. You know what I mean? That's it. That's all the thing. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid I don't understand. Can you go further in depth?
Okay. Yeah. Like, I think when people meet me, they're like, I don't think they realize I'm such a jokester. So, that's a surprise to people. And then as my psycho Victoria, you're surprised of what I'm going to do and how badly I want to win the match. So everything I do is like going, I didn't expect you to do that. And I'm like, well, never expect anything from me because you're going to get something you're just not going to expect,
Right. I'm the
But
same
the
way with joking
craziness,
though.
I
My
think the
humor is like
craziness is
child bathroom humor. Like that's my humor.
yes. Okay, good. Yay. I didn't hear any of that, Sam. I
Well,
mean,
once
I
you
didn't
get
hear
to
your
know me
laughter.
outside and people who are listening, I keep a public image, but when I hang out, the moment I probably gonna go like tell the joke. Oh hey guys, I gotta go. This it was about this size, And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, 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 yeah.
that,
And it's funny because it's like you want to get to know a lot of the fans like in person, but you see like when someone else is trying to get in line to meet you, like it's like you start a conversation, you're like, oh gosh, there's someone else wanting to meet me, and it gets cut off, like so suddenly. But you're like, okay, we'll come back, we'll talk later. And then by the time they come back, there's someone else in line. So it's very hard to get to know the real people unless like they go to the karaoke or the after parties at these things.
yeah. Maybe they just have to move them. Maybe like, all right, I was here first. Move it.
Yeah, yeah,
Victoria
yeah.
wants me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Now, how would you describe your ring style? Because I think it's definitely powerhouse, but I think there's some other elements to it.
I was a gymnast as a kid. I was a cheerleader because dance background and stuff like that. But my how I got that psycho character is that they said you wrestle really crazy, and I go, I wrestle Memphis style, which is old school where it's very exaggerated. So my exaggeration was how I got that psycho thing too. So that was my style, and also I am the one that catches everybody. Let them do their flippity doodles, even though I was a gymnast, but I was a big girl. Let them do all their fancy stuff and I'll catch them. So I was a good base, good base.
Good, I got you. So you just added powerhouse with gymnastics.
That was it. Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
yes.
Okay.
Gymnastics, you have to be strong too. So yeah.
But there's one movie that's kind of special, The Widow's Peak. How did Molly Holly approach you about The Widow's Peak?
She saw Roderick Strong do this Widow's Peak. It wasn't called Widow's Peak, but she saw him do it at an independent show. And she came back to TVs. She goes, Victoria, I have a finisher for you. And I'm like, okay. She goes, okay, pick me up in a power bomb, hook my neck. I'm going to hook my legs. And she goes, drop to your bottom. And I go, what? I have your neck. I have your neck. She goes, no, I'll be okay. And we did it outside in WWE, and everybody was watching, not just us. Everybody was just like going, I want to try something new. We would go out there to kind of also not practice, but go over new repertoire, new moves and stuff like that. And everybody saw that and they went, oh, they were like, oh my gosh. And then Vince saw it, and then she saw Vince. She goes, how do you like that finisher bit for Victoria? He goes, are you okay? She goes, yeah. He goes, I love it. And then that's how I was giving it to it. So thank you, Roderick Strong. Thank you, Molly Holly.
Yeah, better than the snap suplex. I'll tell you that much as a finisher.
Yeah. Yes. I know. I know. Yes. I love doing the snap. That was my favorite move to do until the Widow's Peak.
Oh yeah,
The snap
definitely. I
suplex.
can understand that. It's just that
Yeah.
if that's going to be your finisher, you got to find a way to make
I
it
didn't
like
mean to do
effective
that.
as
I
crap.
didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that because that Survivor series, I was supposed to crack the mirror on Trish's head. And when we were running, she stepped on the mirror and it crumbled to pieces. So the finish got messed up. So I just go, I know there's a fire extinguisher. I know there's a fire extinguisher. And my go-to move was always a snap suplex. So that's why I did it. And that wasn't planned. That's why I hate watching that match too.
Fair enough. But you know what's cool? I watched it again just to see. You did really good hiding it. I didn't notice.
Yeah, the show must go on. It's hard to
Really.
like you can't show mistakes on your face. You know what I mean? But I was
Yeah, because
when
the
I
moment
went
I
back,
that, I'd be like, oh shoot.
I know, I
Ref.
know. It wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I know.
Now we gotta talk about this like amazing personality because you're the second person I've had on the show due to kindness. The other guy, and I'll just promote him real quickly for the listeners, and I'll tell you about him too. See which episode was I can't remember which episode it is. Two was it? Oh boy, you think I remember right now. 223, Rock Your Appetite with Tommy Stevens, but Tommy was a competitor on Hell's Kitchen, season 9. And you would think, based on looking at him, and he's said this himself, he's not successful because he's tattooed head to toe. There's a stigma with tattoos, like people from head to toe. You think you're ex-gangbangers, you're not safe to be around. Not Tommy. When you talk to him, one of the nicest people you will ever meet. And he's an executive
And that's
chef.
why, and you know what? And that's when people judge. They shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You know, like by somehow they look. They're not going to, that shame on people for thinking that. I'll be honest with you. With like today's date, we shouldn't be thinking that. Honestly, it's just I grew up like all these wrestlers had tattoos and they're the nicest people. So shame on people for thinking that.
Yeah, but he's even
Don't
said
judge a
himself. He made
book.
a really joke. He was on Cutthroat Kitchen, which was another cookie show, and he said, "I've only been arrested 8 times." I thought, wow. And he didn't really. He was being sarcastic, but
Okay. I was like, then he's really a bad guy.
no,
If he
he's
was
not really a
arrested,
bad guy. He was joking
yeah, okay,
around when he said that
okay,
because
yeah,
he
yeah,
looked like it. And he said, "Well, I might as well joke around about this. I've been arrested 8 times." And I thought, that's perfect. That was pitch
perfect.
perfect. But anyway, now
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
being kind with this personality. Who was probably the biggest influence that taught you to be kind? Was it your family, a mother? And where did that nice personality come from?
I yeah. See, my parents are very approachable. Like my mom could talk to anybody at the grocery store. Like we wouldn't leave the grocery store. She's talking to the cashier. I think I have 3 older brothers. We're all big personalities. If you come to dinner at our house, you can't get a word in. We're all talking over each other. It's loud. We're banging on the dishes. But my brothers were. My oldest brother he got his gold medal in the Pan Am Olympics for real wrestling, high school wrestling, and college wrestling. And he set the example, I think, growing up, where he was such a people person, Mr. Popular, nice to every person on the planet, even regardless you're homeless, you're crazy, whatever. And I grew up with that. And so being nice wasn't, I don't think it's taught. I think it's just part of your upbringing as a kid. So I've never been a mean spirit person, only as my character in wrestling,
Right. But
you know?
that personality, I mean, I said it myself. You have this aura where when people leave, they feel better about themselves. I mean, I've seen it happen through the testimonies that I via Facebook and even with myself. I mean, when I walk, I'm not literally kidding. The moment I walked away from you, I was like, I actually feel really good now for 5 seconds, but then I got excited again. But for 5 seconds, I was like, she made me feel like I'm like a gold medalist, metaphorically, clearly. But
Thank you. Thank
where
you.
did that amazing personality of yours come from? Was it the outspokenness of your parents? Was it the fact that did you learn a valuable life lesson? And again, this is me just being curious.
Yeah. I think it's just my mom and dad. They're people persons, my mom, um, you know, just, the type of mom that goes, someone comes over for a cup of sugar. This is really old school, by the way. My mom was just a lovely person and talked to everybody. And I think I just was surrounded I think my family, my mom and dad, my three brothers, um, gave me love and, be confident of like who the heck you are, and seeing how they interacted with people. I think I probably just learned it from my family. I'll be honest with you,
I
honestly.
guess why don't I tell you about me where I learned it, what the heck of it. But my grandfather is actually where I learned it from. My parents too, obviously. Obviously, parents number one. But where
Yeah.
I think about it like in depth is my grandfather. For the listeners and for you, C122 meet Big Joe for more information. But the nice way to say it is his family's crazy. Like lots of his family members are crazy. I mean, they've had their own issues. I won't get into what the issues are, but they're sometimes like really like, cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
I
But
think every family has that craziness,
fair enough.
yes,
But
yes.
my point is here, even though we're cuckoo, we know love. And that's all you need to win in this world is love. I mean, they are still like very childhood spirit. I mean, they still believe in giving you gifts. They still believe in, I know in my childhood when we had Christmas parties and we still do. I don't do this anymore just because of growing up, but they would bring the kids together. My aunt would always play a guitar and they would bring like, the kids stuff, would play like maracas, little kid instruments, clearly. But I
And
just
I
thinking,
grew up
reflecting
doing
on that.
karaoke as well. I grew up with karaoke. My mom played the piano, and our family gatherings were all of us in the living room singing country roads, like all these old songs, and that was part of our gathering. That was our Saturday, or until my brothers got to college, they were away. But still, when we get together with my family for the holidays, Thanksgiving, all the holidays, um, my brother has a karaoke machine, and we start doing that, and the party does not end. Tears start rolling, and like, because we think about childhood and like memories and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And I think it comes along
the
with our
karaoke came from
personalities
my mother.
too, because we're very open people. Like there's some people who won't, kind of don't want to do that because of certain reasons. But then there's some
Yeah.
who are like very open. Like one example I could think of is my cousin, who is probably like my best friend. I mean, we're very close, but he wanted to play this kind of child pie game. Now, if you were boring, you would say no because of just growing up. But me being an adult, I'm like this big kid at heart going like, okay, sure,
Yeah,
let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't know what's the pie game?
Well, it's basically like this. So you had your it's like this yellow thing with this hand, like toy hand, and these two
Oh,
people would be on the side. You push the button like 24/7 to get,
I remember that.
yeah,
I remember that
push
game.
that,
I
and then
totally remember that.
whoever pushed it, the other side stop, will get pied.
Okay, okay, okay. That is hilarious. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm very, very close to my family. And, I used to live in Chicago, and this is why I moved back to California. I lost my mom 6 years ago, but my dad is still here, and I have my three brothers here. And I wanted to be close to my family because, I was missing out on, being on the road with WWE. You miss anniversaries, you miss Christmas, you miss Thanksgiving. Like there's all these holidays you miss. And I wanted to be close to home, where if I want to go for a barbecue to my brother's house, I just drive over or take the train and I'm there.
Oh yeah, living by family
Yeah.
is the greatest. I live by family too, and oh man, anytime I go see my grandparents, I mean it's literally a walking distance.
Oh, that's nice. I'm jealous. That is
I know
awesome.
it's great,
Oh,
man. I definitely use that luxury when I can.
yeah, yeah. Take advantage of that. Like I think I was talking couple friends, I feel guilty. My mom called and I put it on skip. What is it? The hate. What is it? Go like just put it towards voicemail. And I'm like, don't do that. Do not do that, because I wish my mom bothered me 24/7 now, because family is important. You never know what's going to happen, and just I think you realize that a little late in life, because you go through that teenage phase, or you're like, okay, well, I'm too busy right now, but you need to make time for family.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Now, I do want to talk to you about your
Yes.
TNA career. So how did you end up in TNA?
Um, I didn't plan on going to TNA. I had my last match, and I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life because I was still older, but I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And then 30 days later, there's a no complete. You can't go to another company after 30 days. 31st day, I got a call from TNA. We want to sign you here. And I was watching TNA because I was so Gail, Kim, and Awesome Kong had amazing matches. And I was like, well, let me try it. They wanted to sign me for 3 years. I said, let me do 1 year. Let me see if it's even for me. And there were some girls that I never wrestled before in my career. And I had an amazing time. Most of my close friends are from there. And I'm in ODB's wedding, in June. I'm the maid of honor. So I made some amazing friends. So I'm very thankful about that. I had a good time. Good time.
Yeah, I could tell TNA was definitely a fun, but you brought a spider. Where the heck did that come from?
Not my idea. Since I was known as Black Widow in WWE, I came to the TNA show and they said, are you Tara? And I go, oh yeah, yes, I'm Tara. They're like, well, these are for you. And in boxes, there were the tarantulas. And they're like, well, you're going to put this on the body after you hit your widow's peak. And I'm like, what? And they were like, are you okay with that? And of course, you don't say no. I just said, I'll try it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I go, are they venomous? And they're like, yes. And I go, well, what happens when I get bit? And they said, are you allergic to bees? And I said, I've never got stung by a bee. They're like, well, it feels like a bee sting. And I go, okay, let's try it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So that's how it happened. I went with it and I felt like Jake the Snake. I felt cool.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know,
My issue is, here's the deal. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to do it. But if this guy bits me, if he bites me, it's on your ass.
No, but if they were like every match I did that with the spider, and I would tell the referee, it's gonna bite me. It's gonna bite me. I can tell that it's wiggling really weird. And he goes, well, what are you gonna do? I said, I'll take the bite. I'm not gonna drop it. I'm not gonna do anything until I get backstage and I'll give it to them. But that's part, you sign a contract. Whatever happens in the ring happens in the ring.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. But that would just scare me. I'd be like, if you maybe don't like say maybe that was kind of harsh, but you got to have my back at least if something happens here. That just includes staying in the hospital with me one night. So be it.
But I tore my knee in the ring. I hyperextended my elbow. Things happen in the ring, and so I would just saying this is part of wrestling. If I get bit, I get bit. What am I going to do? That's wrestling. But I enjoyed it. And I started to embrace it. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I do know. Well, actually, real quickly, now since we did this with WWE, let's do this with TNA. What was your favorite match that you were in or out? Like I said, doesn't matter from your time in TNA.
You already asked me that. My Samoa. In TNA. Do I have a favorite in that? My cage matches with Mickey and Awesome Kong. Yeah, I had a lot of fun wrestling ODB because we would try to make each other laugh in those matches. But our cage matches, not my favorite to do because a lot of injuries happen. But it was amazing. It was amazing. Those were my favorite of my matches. Yeah.
Cool.
But I was a big
watch
fan of
TNA more often.
It's really good. Mickey James is still on there. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, are there any differences or similarities to WWE and TNA?
The big difference in I think it's not the same now, but when I was in TNA, the WWE was very much more organized. The pay was better. The pay was better and way better, like maybe 4 times the amount. But I remember looking on Twitter and says the pay-per-view matches for Impact or TNA. And I was looking at it and I go, wait, today's Saturday, tomorrow's pay-per-view. I have a match tomorrow. And I called TNA and I was like, hey, I don't have a flight for tomorrow. I'm on pay-per-view. I just saw on Twitter. And they're like, oh my God, we didn't send you a flight. So the organization, but they're different now. They have different bosses and it's very organized now. Gail Kim's the agent there too.
I could see that, yeah. How that, and plus that experience that Kale has is gonna come into play with organizing because she's been a
Yeah,
wrestler.
absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes. And just to give you a heads up, I got to leave at 5:15 because I have a fitting for ODB's dress at the shop. Just to
Uh,
let you know.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No
so
worries.
so I do want to talk to you about something that you were, and that's a business lady. So you had a lot of business ventures. So did you always have that business mindset?
No, my ex-husband, he ran businesses. He was a great chef. And so he wanted to do the restaurant. And I was the face. I brought people in because it was all wrestling based. Or, of course, like you said, I have a personality. So I would go table to table and make sure everybody's happy. And like, my last adventure was the Squared Circle restaurant. And I got to go table to table watching wrestling on television, coming to pay-per-views, watching, it was an AEW, but all the independent wrestling we did WWE nights, we did TNA nights, and we did independent nights and then NXT nights. So I was part of my gig was I just went table to table eating pizza, talking wrestling to everybody, and that was it. So that was I'm good at that. So he was the cook. This is why I don't have a restaurant because he was the great chef. The great chef. I was the one that brought people in,
All
you
right,
know.
I got you. Now I do want to talk to you about your what was it? Oh, your friendship with Tori and Trish. So what were your first thoughts of Tori Wilson and Trish Stratus when you first met her way before or met them way before WWE?
Yeah, we met the fitness industry. Tori and I competed in fitness, and Trish was in the fitness industry as well. So I knew them back then, and that's when I saw them, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's what gave me the inkling. Maybe this is for me to be in wrestling. And that's when I met Chyna. And I said, hey, I have two friends in the business, Trish and Tori. And they're like, she goes, wow, you have a really good look. You're muscular like her. And you have a really good look. You should wrestle. And that's when I send my stuff in. And I got a call 30 days later and they wanted to meet me. I went to wrestling school and the rest is history. It bit me in the butt.
Kind of karma for you, right?
It was, yeah, yeah, yes, yes. I was not gonna be good at it. I thought it was gonna last 3 months and ended up, I'm still in the business doing signings. And, this weekend I'm refereeing, I think this weekend. I'm not even sure until I get there. So yeah, I'm still in the business. You never like this business. Once you're in, you can't get out. It's
Gotcha.
part
So
of your life.
now, real quickly, you said Stevie Richards was a big influence in your career. So how did Stevie Richards help you launch your career?
He didn't launch it, but like when I was with him, he would keep me calm because I was one of those people that want to throw up before my matches. I get an upset stomach because I worried so much and I was so nervous. But he would pull me aside, give me the confidence, and him and I never went over anything we did. I go, it was all organic. We're like, do what you do as a psycho. I'm here for you. And I remember licking his face once, and he goes, "Oh my God, I was only supposed to smell and smell." I go, smell his ear, and I ended up biting his ear and licking his face. And he goes, "What was that?" And I go, "I'm so sorry." And he goes, "No, that was great." So it was always like just organic with him, you
Yeah,
know?
I could see that.
Yeah.
That I watched that. I thought, dang, you
Yes.
bit
Yes.
hard.
He's amazing. No, I didn't. I didn't bite hard. It was just all.
Sure.
It was face expressions. Yes, but I don't want to cut you off because I had to be downstairs. I have a
Yeah.
fitting for ODB's dress.
I'll
Um.
wrap it up here for you. So
Okay.
these are the
Yeah.
last five, and we'll call it a day. So what is your
Uh,
paradise meal
okay.
or
We
favorite
have two
food?
minutes just to let you know.
Okay.
My favorite food.
Yeah.
My favorite food. My favorite food is Korean barbecue and then Japanese. I always love pizza. So yes, Korean barbecue.
Gotcha. Now, what is your favorite movie or TV show? And why do you like it?
My favorite show right now is Succession. It's intense, very intense. I'm more of an anime lover. Uh, I like Squid Games and stuff like that because my mom's from Japan, so the Asian culture is really in my family. My favorite movie, Princess Bride, with Andre the Giant, but I do like good comedy, love story, and a happy ending.
All right. Now, what has been your
Yeah.
favorite vacation that you've ever taken? Why did you enjoy that vacation very much?
My vacation was probably Hawaii a couple years ago with my boyfriend. It was very relaxing. We had all these plans to do stuff, but we just sat on the beach and just vegged out, had romantic dinners, watched fireworks, and it was beautiful, beautiful. And we went where all the locals went. So
And that's what my
it was
parents
very,
did when they were in Destin. So
oh,
definitely,
really?
definitely,
I love it.
definitely a good one right
You need
there.
to visit.
It is a good
You
spot to
need to go.
visit. Well, folks, I think that is
Yes.
it. Victoria, is there anything you'd like to say before we head out?
I just want to say thank you so much, Sam, for having me on the show. And, to all the fans that follow me and being so loyal and being so nice and like bringing back so many memories when you meet me and the stories. I just really appreciate the support. And I'm having a good time. Honestly, I love wrestling and wrestling is life. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Sam. Give your mom a big kiss from me. Okay.
Will do. All right, guys. Thank you again.
Okay.
Have a great one, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sam. Oh, yes.